And that's why I'm not the cops. What's going on, everybody? This is the Coverbandconfidential podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more inside glass in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
Oh, if you want to know why that one's so funny, you're going to have to sign up for the Patreon, baby.
That's right. That one came right out of the pre-show.
So for those of you who don't know, the $10 tier, we have it's a bonus episode. It's just basically me and Dan planning the show and sharing personal stuff, and it's the closest thing to like unfiltered as you can get.
Sometimes we have real talk that we hold for it, but usually it's just us goofing around before we hit record.
So if that sounds interesting to you, you know how to take care of that. Otherwise, you'd be like, I barely can make it through the.
Oh, really?
The show that you're
literally,
planned.
You're saying like if you can't get enough of these two jerks. Pay $10.
Yes, we've monetized your compulsion. It's great.
Yeah.
Anywho, what about you, Dan? Have you joined any Patreon communities this week?
No.
Okay.
I have not.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But nothing really going on in our world. We've got a couple of weeks off. Not doing a July 4th thing. You do anything? Are you playing?
I'm not. It turns out, as I look forward on my calendar, I have an acoustic gig on in August that I had forgotten booking, but believe now that I did. And so I got that to look forward to. And I'm starting to reach out about more acoustic stuff and doing the karaoke some places and that kind of thing. Still not entirely certain I have 3 hours in me, but no way to know without trying. So
that's fair. So yeah, we've got a couple of weeks off. The next thing we've got is like this charity gala. This is a repeat deal, which I mean, that always feels good. You do something for somebody and then they say, hey, we want some more of that. But this time they're asking for kind of an 80s, 90s, 2Ks playlist. So that'll let us, stretch out a little bit, play stuff that we like. Not that we don't like playing 80s stuff, but like more of the kind of influential type repertoire.
Yeah, totally.
So looking forward to that. We're kind of starting that conversation, trying to get that hammered out. If there are any like special requests or anything that the band wants to add as far as like the 90s or 2000s, all of that's up for discussion, and that's kind of what we're doing in our world. That's pretty much it. I did not get the guitars dropped off like I was planning on, so my Strats are still unplayable. I'm hoping to remedy that tomorrow. I think I've got enough time. My buddy John, who has done my guitar work forever and ever, moved shops, and it used to be closer and now it's further, and so I've just got to suck it up and take the drive.
Listen, when you have a relationship with a tech, that's a really valuable thing. My guy Tony is incredible, and I drive a long way to get stuff in front of him.
Yeah, and John's not just a tech. He's like I've known him for 30 years at this point, so we've got history beyond just guitar stuff. I just implicitly trust him when it comes to my gear, and it's a good excuse to go and shoot the breeze with him for like 30 minutes, which is ultimately what it's about. Actually, Amber will be mad because she won't be able to do it because she loves John. He's a good hang, and it's part of the reason why he was a part of the group in the first place is because he was easy to get along with and was a good player, so he got the call. Anyway, nothing else going on. Not much to catch up on. No review this week. I did want to note that we are having a Canada Day merch blowout this week. So if you're getting this, you actually still have time. As long as you do it through the weekend. We've got merch on sale through July 7th. So for all of you Canada Day and,
Canada
Independence Day folks, you can save some money on a shirt if you want to get one.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
All about.
A boat.
A boat.
About? A boot.
Something to that effect. This is great.
Like
this is great.
Top-notch podcasting right there. Yeah.
Okay. That's why you tune in week after week.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. But let's actually get into like the good part of the show, because everybody knows the "How's Your Mother" part. People just fast forward through that. If we had ads, they'd skip through that. We don't have ads currently. But maybe when you hear this 10 years down the road, there'll be an ad here and it won't make any sense. Anyway, we have talked about this. This was a thing that kind of popped up in the Patreon community that we thought was too good to, one, pass over, and two, not gather a proper amount of data around. So the topic of songs that you don't like but you still play anyway came up. And it was one of those things where somebody posted it and all immediately like the thread is just like waist deep. So that's how we knew that we were probably onto something. So we collected information from the Patreon community, and then I was like, let's widen the net a little bit. So did a public survey. I posted it all over the place. I posted it on Facebook. I posted it in a couple of groups on Reddit and a bunch of other spots. And we got a really solid response. We got nearly 100 actually, which is pretty cool. So all of you guys out there in the world playing your gigs in your bands, in your venues, you guys have thoughts about this stuff. So we want to go through this compilation of songs and share our thoughts and, kind of process them the way that musicians tend to do. The cool thing about having a huge sample size is that we were able to not only kind of determine the front runners or the winners of certain things, but we've also were able to categorize them in a couple of different ways, which make more sense because the thing about performing is that stuff that annoys us as players can be different for different reasons.
Yeah.
So we wanted to put them into different blocks and kind of talk through those.
And I don't know if we said, the topic here is songs that we hate, but we play anyway.
Right. So it's a song that if you had the choice, you wouldn't listen to or play.
If you had the choice, it would never have existed and would be gone from all radio stations and deleted from Spotify. But we play it anyway.
But some of these songs I don't mind listening to. I would much rather listen to than play them in certain circumstances.
There's a category for that. That's certainly true. Oh. That's certainly true.
But let's go into the actual list. So we found 6 different categories. We're going to go through each of them. Should we go ahead and list what the categories are?
We should list the categories, yes. Because there's some overlap. We need to lay the roadmap.
Yeah,
here.
so some of these songs are going to show up in different categories. But the 6 main categories of why you guys don't like these songs is they're overplayed, they're repetitive or boring, cheesy lyrics, cringe lyrics, too slow, and then one other one that I don't want to divulge until the very end.
We'll hang on to the last one.
Yes, because
I agree.
It was
I agree.
Of all of the ones that we got, I was not expecting this one. I was quite surprised. And yeah, we'll get into it later. But let's go. I mean, the easiest one to really start with is the most overplayed songs.
Yep.
And it was funny because when I posted the survey link, somebody was like, if you take all of the songs that are on this list and you play them, you'll be the biggest cover band in your market.
100% true. No, this is the point. These are songs that work. These are songs that crowds want. And we're just so sick of them or they're, annoying in whatever way. But they work. These are the ones we hate, but we always do anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's basically the barn burner list, but we'll go ahead and list them out.
Yeah. So we're starting with Overplayed.
Yeah, Overplayed. Yeah. Brown Eyed Girl. You're getting your big ones. You're getting Brown Eyed Girl, Mustang Sally, Sweet Caroline, Sweet Home Alabama. Wagon Wheel was the front runner by a lot. It wasn't even
by
close.
A lot. And listen, I mean, here in North Carolina, you got to be kidding me. Wagon Wheel is massively overplayed.
Yeah.
Even now, even all these years later.
I still play it though, and you know what? I like that song. I still like that song.
It's a good song. It's just overplayed.
I think it's how you were exposed to it. Because if the first time you heard it was when Old Crow Medicine Show did it, you probably still like that song. But if you listen to country radio and the first time you heard it was when Darius Rucker did it.
It's Hootie.
Yeah. Odds are you're probably you're hitting the oversaturation because you're hearing it locally, where you go. Whereas I don't. And I still like playing that song.
It's a good tune. And here's the other thing. The last one on this list, alphabetically, is Wonderwall, which I believe has had a Wonderwall renaissance. I think that song has gone from overplayed and derided for it to nostalgic. People love it. People want to hear it. I play it all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of a Rick Roll-esque kind of thing now.
And when I introduce it, I almost always say, anyway, here's Wonderwall.
Right.
Almost every time.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
So I didn't list all of them kind of in the right order because you want to talk about your barn burners, of course. But there were some ones that I wouldn't have necessarily thought would be perceived that way.
Yeah.
Mary Jane's Last Dance, Tom Petty. Yeah. I guess I hear it, other bands playing it. I don't find it to be an offensive song as far as playing or
No.
singing. I like doing it.
No.
I really
Yeah.
like that second verse, like just the
Yeah.
delivery and the way that it's
Yeah.
written.
Yeah.
I still dig it. Play That Funky Music, Wild Cherry.
It's got a time and place. One of our categories is repetitive. It could certainly fall into that too. When we do it, I think it's one of those ones that you got to read the room, and sometimes you got to bail after the first verse and chorus.
Right.
And sometimes the room wants you to replay the whole thing all the way through. You just got to be very sensitive to how it's being heard in the room. But I can get overplayed on that one.
But the interesting thing is like when I think of Play That Funky Music, I feel like it's in that same world as like Brick House.
Yes.
But Brick House was never mentioned.
That is odd.
And it's all of the things that people don't like. It's repetitive and it's like, I would consider it overplayed. I just think people like it. I think.
Yeah. What do you think about Bad Mama Jamma?
That's not a prevalent song in our market.
Ours either. We do it, but it's crazy repetitive.
We're not at repetitive just yet.
We're still at overplayed. You're right. So
let's not get
fine.
ahead of
Yeah, so
ourselves.
you're right. So She's a Bad Mama Jamma is not overplayed.
Yeah.
That's true.
I just think as a guitar player, it's a fun song. It's fun to play Brick House. It's fun to play Brick House in front of anybody. People love it.
Yeah.
Old kids,
A lot of
old
good
people,
7/9s and fun chords like that. Listen, one thing that was on there was surprising was Tush, ZZ Top.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely played it in a couple of bands, but
I've played it in a couple of bands, but I don't think of it as overplayed.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of another ZZ Top song that I've heard more as far as like in the cover world, and I don't think there is one.
No, I don't think so.
So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
And then let's see, just rounding those out, My Own Worst Enemy by Lit, which I was kind of surprised by.
Me too.
And Tennessee Whiskey, Chris Stapleton. I feel like Tennessee Whiskey's on its way to becoming the next Wagon Wheel in a way that like,
wow.
Well, it's kind of filling that spot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's ubiquitous, everybody does it. And it's weird because the reason why people like that song is because of the way that Chris Stapleton sings it. And not a lot of people can sing like Chris Stapleton. And
correct.
I don't know why you would present yourself in a way that doesn't play to your strengths. And so if you can't do
like here's a version of the song that's worse than the one that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to be great.
And it's, because that run is everything. If you don't know it, people can tell. So anyway, it's probably the hardest one vocally on this list.
Surely. Yes, surely.
I mean, Tush is different. It's hard for a different reason. It's just if you're singing it the way Dusty sang it, it's high and it's kind of gravelly and you got to be able to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of grit in that one.
But yeah, most of these are like middle of the road. Oh yeah, Sweet Home Alabama, Sweet Child of Mine, Sweet Child of Mine's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. I'll say Mustang Sally, when I do it, it takes a lot of pipes, but that's kind of my take.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got kind of like that strong kind of lower kind of mid-range Mustang, yeah, you got to be able to give it a little.
Slow.
You got to work on your wow. You know, you got to get those on. I'm not lubricated, so that didn't come out right.
No, for sure. Yeah.
We were at dinner. There was a song playing, and Amber and I were kind of like just humming along, and then it turned into us singing a song about how we hadn't warmed up yet, and that's why it didn't sound good. Yeah. So that's the kind of house that we live in.
It's good when you're a singer to have that excuse, just ready to roll.
Oh, I'm not warmed up yet.
Yeah,
I haven't properly lubricated. That's not very. I mean,
yeah. You should hear me in the middle.
I need 45 minutes of steam before we get started. Anyway,
that's right.
Moving along. The next thing, repetitive. So this is a song that's too simple. Doesn't have enough parts. Doesn't necessarily move. Same thing over and over again. But again, there are certain songs that are very repetitive that didn't get mentioned.
Yep.
But again, these songs are also going to kill.
Yep.
So, Can't You See, Marshall Tucker Band. It's that one. It's that one progressing the whole time.
Yep.
And it's fine, but yeah, you're in like, Can't You See number 17. And you're like, man, I don't feel like we're close.
I got like 57 Can't You Sees to go too. Like, holy moly.
I mean, we can see what that woman did to you.
We can.
It's very clear now.
Yeah, evident.
Comfortably Numb, which I don't know. I feel like it's got a couple of parts.
It does have a couple of parts. I added my note here that my problem with Comfortably Numb is it's too slow. So maybe we'll get to that in the too slow section.
Good Times by Chic. I mean, most Chic songs are going to kind of be like that.
It's like disco is going to be repetitive.
Yeah, because you're supposed to be doing cocaine and dancing to it
Exactly.
for like 11 minutes at a time. Island in the Sun, I think is fair. Weezer.
Yeah.
Keep Your Hands to Yourself, Georgia Satellites. That one came up a couple of times. It was also in the Overplayed one. But I felt like my market, it's pretty prevalent, but it may not be in other places.
I don't hear it much around here. And here's the thing. It's a blues tune. So it's going to be repetitive. That's just part of the deal.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, it's got the classic rock vibe. It's an 80s song. It could, a country band could do it. So
there's a ton going for it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of versatility, and everybody knows it. And it is one of those songs that you can make as short or as long as you want, where you can put a solo break in between every single verse, and you can repeat verses. And I guess that's part of the upside, is that because it is so repetitive, like you can take it wherever you want to, and do what you want with it.
Sure. And nobody knows the verses well enough to notice if you short it by a verse.
Doesn't matter. More recent, Seven Nation Army.
Yeah. Ridiculously repetitive, and yet it crushes.
Yep. Taking Care of Business, a little Bachman Turner Overdrive. Tennessee Whiskey came back up, but number one.
Big number one.
No shock here. What's Up, 4 Non Blondes?
This is one I'd delete from Spotify if I could, except that would mean nobody would know it when I play it, and the room wouldn't do what it does when I play it. So I take back. I won't delete it from Spotify.
So you know what I just realized? Tennessee Whiskey and What's Up have roughly the same chord progression. Because it's A and B minor. You're not supposed to throw the D in on Tennessee Whiskey. Some people do, but it is the same.
Okay. Well, now we know what we're doing with the rest of this night.
You'll have to tune into the after show to see how this one goes.
That's right. My guitar's right here.
Dadgum. Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Anyhow.
Me neither.
Other repetitive ones. I Got a Feeling, Black Eyed Peas.
Yes.
Just does one thing. There's no dynamics. It's that one thing. And I don't know. I feel like there are songs that are more repetitive than the ones that were listed. And this is by no means a comprehensive documentation of this. But are there any that you play that you just despise as far as repetition goes?
No, I think when I came to understand that I could short or long them depending on what the room wanted, my concern for repetition sort of went away. I got control over it, and then my hand is just going to do the same thing for 6 minutes, and that's okay.
Honorable mention, Runaround, Blues Traveler. Same progression over and over again.
Yeah. And it's Pachelbel, right? It's Pachelbel's canon.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is repetitive.
Yeah, for sure. So this was one that I broke up between cheesy and cringe. And to the untrained ear, it might seem like those are the same things, but I can assure you that they are not.
They are certainly not.
Cheesiness, I feel like, is a thing that the crowd and the band acknowledge and participate in collectively.
Yes.
Where cringe, I feel like, is one-sided. And it's either you feel cringe doing it, or people feel cringe watching you do it.
Or feel cringe watching the people who are enjoying you doing it.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this.
Yeah, cringe is complex.
Yes. Well, let's go with cheesy. Let's start there.
Cheesy is relatively simple.
Yeah, and you're going to hear these, and you're going to be like, yep, totally.
Yep.
500 Miles of Proclaimers, pretty self-explanatory. 867-5309. Country Road, John Denver.
Yep.
I mean, none of you have been to West Virginia. I don't think John Denver had been to West Virginia.
John Denver never went to West Virginia.
Hilarious.
But here's the thing. The whole room sings along with that one. So we're going to play it. Cupid
Shuffle, for all you party bands out there.
There are a lot of line dance tunes that probably fall inside cheesy that are just going to crush. A really great band in my market plays almost exclusively line dances for their break music. Mm-hmm. And it's genius because all the girls get up and do the line dances. I don't know if you ever watch unguided white girls try to do the wobble. It doesn't go great.
It keeps the energy up in the room. It
keeps the energy up in the room. People don't leave. It actually really works. So, yeah, it's good stuff.
A couple of dark horses, at least ones that hadn't come to mind. Higher by Creed. I don't know if... I feel like it's kind of having a moment. We've played it, and it's definitely killed. I feel like it's kind of having a Rickroll moment. I feel like Creed in general, there's a lot of just kind of Creed appreciation that's made its way around. It's one of those it's so bad it's good. Home Sweet Home, Motley Crue. I mean it hits that note. It's about as cheesy as you can get.
Except for this last one.
Yeah, Pour Some Sugar on Me, which okay, it's fair. I don't hate this. I don't hate this song.
No, I don't hate it. The thing about cheesy is like, can you play it with a straight face? Kind of not quite.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could do Pour Some Sugar on Me and not like be laughing at myself about the absurdity of that. But I'd probably love playing it.
Yeah, it's fun to play. I think the lyrics to The Look by Roxette help kind of cushion weird off the wall lyrics because those make no sense at all. Where at least Pour Some Sugar on Me, it makes sense. It's not.
You don't want it to.
It's not Shakespeare.
I wish I didn't understand the sense it makes.
I mean, rhyming cream with saccharine is
it's a lot. That's a
bit of a stretch.
That's a toughie.
But yeah, nothing else is that deep on at least on that level. Yeah. So let's talk about cringe. So these are definitely songs that I have played in bands before, and I'd say that I am of two minds on some of these, and I'm 100% in line with others. So best example, number one pick for most cringe, Crazy Bitch by Buck Cherry. It's a song that you just gotta, here's the thing. Every other part of that song is fun to play, except the lyrics. Singing that song, you
just don't feel good. You don't feel good. And however, in the right audience, it crushes.
Oh, sure. But that crowd needs to be like 2 or 3 pitchers in.
And motorcycles.
Yeah, motorcycle adjacent. There's definitely a lot of motorcycle adjacent music in this category.
Yeah, yes.
Kryptonite 3 Doors Down, it was, somebody mentioned, they said it's a Florida biker mom song. Yeah. Which I had never heard that term before, but immediately understood.
Completely.
It definitely hits that note.
And that's the one I'm thinking of. Like, you may not be embarrassed playing it. Somebody might not be embarrassed listening to it, but somebody might be embarrassed watching someone enjoy it being played.
Yes. Yeah. That's a very astute observation. Rockstar by Nickelback.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Rockstar is a clever song. Like, lyrically, it is very, it's tongue-in-cheek, but it's well written.
And it does some clever stuff musically,
Oh, yeah.
too.
I've definitely played it in a couple of positions. I played bass in a 90s band. We used to do that one a lot. And yeah, it's fun to play.
Well, I mean, in bass particularly, the chromatic moves in the chorus are like, nobody does that. That's really interesting. You know, the thing about Nickelback is that they wrote one really, really great song and recorded it like 40 times.
But then they also wrote a bunch of like really cringy songs.
And a lot of really cringy ones, yeah. I think this one's an exception.
Yeah, honestly, of all of the Nickelback songs I hear, it's probably the least cringe. If your band plays Animals, I couldn't. No, I can't. I can't do that one. No. Or whatever whatever that song. I like your pants around your feet. But then all I hear is someone on social did like a whole thing where they were switching the lyrics between Photograph and that line, and so like the chorus was like pants, feet, feet, pants. Anyway, I'll send you the link. It's funny.
Yeah, it's good.
Let's see. Tub Thumping Chumbawamba. I think it's a fun one. It could fall under any of those other categories. I feel like it's overplayed. I feel like it's repetitive. If you have to sing Pissing the Night Away, maybe that's not a great feeling. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it necessarily deserves this one. And speaking of like, I'm not sure it deserves it, but this one came up more than once, and I feel like this is the dark horse of this category. Old Time Rock and Roll, Bob Seger.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that.
I mean, I guess it could be.
There's something about its earnestness, that might not resonate with current audiences.
I mean, it's definitely, it's a little boomer. It's got some boomer energy.
A little boomer. It's definitely a little boomer.
Today's music ain't got the same soul. I like that. Oh,
got the same soul. It's a little judgy.
Yeah.
It's a little judgy. It's a little Rick Beato-ish. I didn't say that, but you know what I'm saying.
No, it's the idea that Rick Beato is the Bob Seger of YouTubers. Like what?
Yeah, explains a lot, doesn't it?
Wow, dude, we have opened up some powerful things today.
Metaphors are really flying, really flying.
All right,
now listen. The one you missed from this list that you didn't mention is Dirty Deeds, AC/DC.
Yeah, another dark horse. I don't feel like, but. I'm of two minds of this. I don't hear bands doing it.
No, me neither. And I don't know why it would be cringe, except that it's like AC/DC is kind of generally cringe, unless you're like the people who are into them, in my experience, were sort of smelly high school boys.
Yeah.
And I think when they grew out of being smelly and high school boys, they probably kind of grew out of AC/DC, is my guess.
I've seen AC/DC like 5 times, dude.
Well, good. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, they're great.
Oh man. The thing is, like, I don't think Dirty Deeds is even like, it's not even the cringiest AC/DC song.
That's true. That is definitely true. Yeah.
I mean, Big Balls is one. You know, there's plenty of other ones that like I would think. And actually, I will mention this. This was one that was mentioned a couple times in the Patreon group. Brown Sugar, as far as is probably at this point not.
It's a category of cringe called didn't age well. And that's certainly that. I don't know that Dirty Deeds is that. I'll say this just for fun. My wife, Nikki, is a brilliant one for having heard lyrics wrong as a kid, and then they've stuck in her head. So for her, that song is about 30 Thieves and the Thunder Chief.
Wow. So nothing about sheep. That's the one that I
Nothing about sheep, no. No, although she did, for another song, she's got a chicken to ride.
Yep. My Baby Donkey, right?
My Baby Donkey, that's right.
I think we've covered this.
Yeah.
We're at that point. We're at that old married couple that's like, do you remember the time? Yeah, I remember the time.
Of course I was there. Come on.
We told all our damn stories.
Coming up on 400 episodes, we know everything about each other.
Here's one. T-Boz from TLC told me my hair was fly once. Did I ever tell you that one?
You did.
Son of a... Anyway, that one came up randomly in conversations. All right, moving along. Too Slow. So
Too Slow.
This is going to be a tune that is going to drop the room on its head. Couple of picks for Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
As far as like, I don't know, like I wouldn't play Hey Joe in like a band scenario.
I played it in my high school band and enjoyed playing it, but I didn't really understand the brief.
Yeah.
At the time, I thought I was about playing music that I enjoyed.
Sure.
And so I did enjoy playing it. It was really fun, but I don't think I'd do it now.
I've played Fire before, and Fire rips.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's Hendrix tunes that definitely should be done, but I don't think Hey Joe's one of them. Plus, didn't age well.
Sure. Rocky Mountain Way, Joe Walsh. I vehemently disagree with this. I think the coolest thing about that song is that the slower you play it, like the nastier it gets. For
sure. No, we got a bunch of tunes that like we want it as slow as it can go until the groove falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is gnarly at a slow tempo for sure.
Let's see. Any Doors song. Literally, there were multiple ones where it's like Doors, period. Done.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is necessarily true.
I think I agree. What Doors song would you do?
Roadhouse Blues.
That is the one I've done.
Yeah. And I mean, you could probably get away with...
I mean, is anybody going to do Soul Kitchen or is anybody going to do...
No, you're going to do one of the big uns.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done a couple of different Doors songs at different points, but that one is going to be the one that I would pick most times.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see, Last Kiss, Pearl Jam, Wonderful Tonight.
Wonderful Tonight.
But again, that's a timing thing, I think. Like in the right spot, like that song can crush.
Right moment in a spot, that one's good. I mentioned earlier in a different category, Comfortably Numb, and I used to close set one with Comfortably Numb pretty often. And that's because the energy of the solo at the end is great big. You want to go out with that kind of energy. But when you start the song, it is a straight ass bummer.
Yep.
It is like the energy just drops to the floor and then you got to build it way back up. And that song can accomplish it. But yeah, too slow. I would say that song is too slow.
Any one of these could be the right thing at the right moment during the gig. But in general, there are just certain songs that either don't go good together or just you probably don't want to do. And I would say, with the exception of Rocky Mountain Way, I'm on board with the rest of these.
Yep.
All right, we're at the end of this. This is the last one.
Last category, which we kept as a secret.
Yes. And it was, again, this is the one that took me by surprise more than anything because I just didn't think musicians would say it. And I think it's because this was anonymous that people were comfortable doing this.
Good.
So the last category is Too Hard.
Like too difficult
to play. Or just difficult to play. It just occurred to me as like, oh, people were willing to say that because it was anonymous and nobody knows who says what.
Right.
And that's just fascinating. Man, I've learned so much tonight about...
We need to do more anonymous
Yeah,
surveying,
apparently.
Clearly.
Top of the list, Sweet Home Alabama. What key is the solo in again?
Yeah.
It's one of the...
Could be in one of two keys.
It's the ever debated. And I've definitely...
One of the great mysteries.
I have heard multiple bands play those solos in the wrong keys. And it's I don't like it. I think the most egregious one is the one that whoever was in Kid Rock's band that played it over that all summer long he played that solo totally the wrong key. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, and when I have done that, it was a long time ago. I was actually in my high school band, and we did a very naive cover of it. It was a very sort of sketchy.
Sure.
There's stuff going on in that song that's real complex.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that the chord pattern is repetitive and simple,
nothing else about that song is.
No.
A couple mentions of Uptown Funk. I'm assuming those are bass players.
Yeah, and I saw this on the list and I was like, what could be so complicated? I need to go back and listen to that bass line because that
bass line's
clearly...
Yeah, it's awesome. The guitar part is not it. It's literally like 3 notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of bass players mentioned Uptown Funk. Mr. Brightside, that opening riff for folks.
That opening riff can go straight to hell. I'm right with them on this one. When I have played that, I have managed to medley into it in a way that skipped that opening riff because that opening riff can go straight to hell.
It's a toughie, for sure.
Yeah.
A couple of other like obvious ones. Freebird was on there, but then there were 3 that got brought up that I was not. Of all things, I would have expected these weren't them. Evil Ways by Santana, and the category, or at least the qualifier, is it's difficult for smaller bands, which makes sense because Santana had like a 20-piece band when they recorded that song.
Oh, and half of them are percussion, and then there's like 2 keyboardists, and yeah, crazy.
So fair one there. What's My Age Again? Blink-182. And it's that opening riff, the do-do-dee-doo, that one.
Fair.
It's kind of in the Mr. Brightside kind of world where you're coming in dry, like that has to be played exactly the way that it's supposed to sound because it's the way that everybody like clocks the song. So
if you muff that opening riff, it's like, oh, he muffed the opening riff.
And then this last one, again, is a guitar player. I like it. I love it. Tim McGraw. So
I have to go listen to it because
I'm assuming, JT Cornfloss or one of the like Brett Mason probably played the solo on that. So it's probably incredible. Yeah. And so not being able to pick up on some sort of country lick or whatever, not surprising. But again, just I never thought that I'd see the day. I could put Dead Man's Party by Oingo and Boingo on that list,
For sure.
So,
for sure. Except that this is songs we do play.
Right. Ouch.
That one's too hard to even play. Yeah.
Fring. I believe this knife belongs to you, sir.
Sorry.
Right in my back. Anyway, that was it. And this was fun. I poured over this list and put all this stuff together. And I like talking about music as much as I like talking about making music. And so, this is kind of like the perfect intersection of those two things.
And listen, the takeaway is like, look at us being these heroes out here, these long-suffering, martyrs to music that, because of What's Up by Four Non Blondes does in the room, I'm willing to play it, even though it's the bane of my existence. Yeah. Because the whole room, all the girls in the room anyway, will stop and scream along. Like, I'm super into the tune.
Yep.
And it's that way for everything we talked about. This list was songs we hate, but play anyway because they work so darn well in the room.
Exactly. And like we said at the top of the convo, if you take this list and you put it into your band's repertoire,
you got a killer show.
You're going to crush.
Yeah.
So of all of those different categories, repetitive, overplayed, cheesy, cringy, too hard, what did we miss? Let us know about it. Coverbandconfidential@gmail.com or leave a comment on the video version on YouTube. Want to know about it because nothing would make me happier than us get like another 150 replies and do a second list,
Part 2.
Electric Boogaloo. So if there are any glaring omissions, we want to know about it. We'll do a corrections corner next week at minimum. And that's pretty much it.
Awesome.
Cool beans, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Couldn't do this without you. Having a great time doing it in the meantime. If you want to support the show, you can do any number of things that you're about to hear, but I'll go ahead and call it for this week. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Coverband Confidential podcast for the week of July 4th, 2025.